Greenberg discusses the persistent rumors and conjecture regarding Aaron Rodgers possibly joining the New York Jets. Greenberg, a devoted Jets supporter, thinks the addition of Rodgers would make the team one of the biggest in NFL history and would immediately elevate them to Super Bowl contender status. Additionally, Greenberg discusses the ongoing controversy surrounding Aaron Rodgers' status with the Green Bay Packers. He acknowledges that a vocal minority of Packers supporters are unhappy with Rodgers and would be relieved to see him go, but he thinks the majority of Packers supporters would be heartbroken if Rodgers were to leave. Greenberg admits that there are other teams that would be a better fit for the star quarterback, even though he supports the Jets and wants Rodgers to play for his favorite squad. He nonetheless thinks that the Jets have a lot to offer Rodgers, especially in light of their strong roster outside of the quarterback position. Greenberg also discusses a previous discussion he had with Michael Kay about amputating a pinky toe in exchange for a Jets victory during the conversation. Although he is not necessarily willing to go that far, he says that if it meant that Rodgers would sign with the Jets, he would be prepared to do the darkroom thing that Rodgers did in Oregon. While acknowledging that a number of factors will ultimately determine where the quarterback ends up, Greenberg is generally upbeat and enthusiastic about the prospect of Rodgers joining the Jets. The discussion comes to a lighthearted conclusion with Macafee making fun of Rodgers' propensity to address himself as Mr. Tuesdays. The topic of conversation was Aaron Rodgers possibly joining the New York Jets. They talked about how, given the Jets' long-standing need for a franchise quarterback and the enormous media attention that comes with playing in the Big Apple, Rodgers might end up being the most famous person in New York City. Greenberg acknowledged that he would be devastated if Rodgers chose not to join the Jets and that there was no other candidate who could provide the team with what Rodgers could. Additionally, they talked about Rodgers' potential retirement rather than continuing to play for the Packers or another team. Several people who Greenberg consulted in Arizona before the Super Bowl said that Rodgers' retirement was a very real possibility. Macafee added that Rodgers had made reference to it in books and podcast interviews. Rodgers was one of the few individuals, according to Greenberg, who could afford to retire at a ripe old age and continue to earn a sizable sum of money for the rest of his days. The topic of what the Jets would have to give up to get Rodgers then came up. Despite the Packers' high demands, according to Greenberg, the Jets would make an effort to acquire Rodgers for the lowest possible price. Macafee believed that a trade involving the Jets and Packers would be successful, particularly if the Packers were open to having Jordan Love start at quarterback. Overall, the discussion emphasized the excitement and anticipation surrounding Rodgers' potential Jets signing. If he could lead the Jets to a Super Bowl victory, Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, would instantly become a fan favorite and a legendary figure in New York City.